Okay, solve by substitution. Substitution just means plug in. Before I do number one, let me give you a more simplistic problem. Let's say I gave you y equals 3 and 2x plus y equals 8.
Good afternoon, Brent.
So what you would do is you would take the 3 and you'd plug it in for y, and then you'd solve for x. The only difference is, sorry about that, and then you would ... go from there. This problem is the exact same thing, except this time instead of just being a 3, y equals all of this. So all of this goes in for y. So I literally write the exact same equation. I keep the 2, the x, and the plus, but instead of writing y, I write everything that I also did in yellow. So I'm going to write x plus 2 equals 8. So there's my x plus 2. Now I go back to solving for x. I put an imaginary 1. 2x plus 1x is 3x plus 2. And I'm just going to solve for x. Minus 2. I know I didn't give you very much space. I apologize. Feel free to get extra paper. So I got my x. Boom. I'm halfway done. I got my x, but I still need to get my y. So now I'm going to take my x value, and I'm going to plug it into either equation. The easier one for me is to plug it into the first one. It's already set up for me. So I will go y equals 2, because that's a 2, plus 2, and then y equals 4. I have the y value. So what I want you to see is if you solve this by substitution, your answer will be 2, 4. If you did this exact same problem, but you graphed it, your answer should also be 2, 4. Okay? So how do I know I'm right? I take 2, I plug it into x, 2 times 2 is 4, plug in the y, 4 plus 4 is 8, I plug it into the first one, it works. Since they both work, I know that I'm good to go. Okay? Let me try number 4. If you look at number 4, this one doesn't say y equals, but this one does. So I take this, and I plug it in for y. And I'm going to go 3x minus. Now, when there's a plus, I don't need any parenthesis. But since it's a minus, that whole thing is being subtracted. So all of that yellow that was put right there needs to get a parenthesis. Equals -2. So I wrote the 3, I wrote the x. I wrote the minus, but instead of writing y, I put my 2x plus 3 equals -2. Now, if I'm going to multiply this out, I got to do something for my own sanity and put a -1 there. And then I give the -1 here, and I give it there. So it ends up being 3x minus 2x minus 3 equals -2. Put the same together. 1x minus 3 equals -2. Plus 3 plus 3. 1x is just x. So x equals 1. Boom. I got my x value. Now that I have my x, I want to get my y. So I'm going to take the 1, I'm going to put it in for x. I could put it in for the first one if I want to torture myself. So I'm going to go 2 times 1 plus 3. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. Before I circle it, I'm going to check. 3 times 1 is 3, minus 5. 3 minus 5 is -2, and it worked for the second one, so I know that I'm good to go. Okay? Let's step it up. Now, number 1 and 4 were easier for me because it already said y equals. But if you look at number 8, it's not set up like that. So I have options. I can either solve for this x, this y, this x, or this y. I understand that most of you want to solve for this y, so let me show you. Don't do what I'm going to do. All the work you're going to have to do, to solve for y, and then I'm going to erase it. -1y equals -1x plus 5, blah, blah, blah. I'm already bored, okay? If I solve for the x instead, all I have to do is add y. And then, bam, I've solved for x. That was done in one step. Knowing how to be more efficient can help you out. You don't always have to solve for y. You can solve for x. So I'm going to take my x, and it goes right in there. Let me say this again. You could have gone minus x, divide by -1, and then solve for y, but that seems like more work. So I'm taking the 5 plus y, and it's going to go right in there. So I'm going to go to parentheses, my yellow, 5 plus y, minus 4y equals 20. 2, 5 plus y minus 4y equals 20. Distribute, distribute. Put the same together. Careful on this because you could make a silly mistake with your negatives. I got my y. Boom, I have my y value. Okay? Now that I have my y, this time I need to get my x. I understand that you want to take this y value and plug it in here. My only worry about that is that if you made a mistake from here to here, you won't catch it. So I always encourage you to just go back to the original. Okay? It's a little bit more work, but I think it's worth it. So I'm going to go x minus, and then my y is negative 5, equals 5. A negative and a negative make a positive. 5 minus 5, x equals 0. Now, before I circle it, I better check it. 2 times 0 is 0. A negative 4 times a negative 5 is a positive 20. It works. X is 0, gone. Negative of negative 5 is positive 5. I've checked both of them. Now I know that I'm good to go. Okay? Let's do one more, and I think we're good. I actually like number 12. Think about why I like it. Hopefully you're saying, bam, I already have the x value. So then all I have to do is now take that x value, plug it in, and get the y. So 2y minus, my x is negative 7, equals negative 2. 2 negatives make a positive. Now I'm going to get a fraction here. Is that all right? Yes. While it is more annoying to plug in, you have a calculator. You could literally go to, in your calculator, parentheses, negative 9 halves, oops, yeah, there we go, minus negative 7 equals negative 2, press enter, and if it says true, you did it right, okay? And even if you don't have that, 2 over 2 is gone. Negative 9 minus negative 7 is negative 2, and I know x is negative 7, so I know that I'm good. Your homework is to finish this page. Now, you don't have to have me give you the answers, because you know when you're done if your answer is correct or not.